Hi, I'm here to talk about my game Franchise. Franchise is a Euro-style strategy game where players gain resources, gain upgrades, and eventually are able to build infrastructure. And in this game, you play as a corporation for the first time able to come into a small town, and all the corporations are competing to be the first to destroy everything that's great and wonderful about this small town. On your turn, the way that this game works is most of your resources you gain from rolling dice. So usually at the end of the turn, you'll roll and get dice. And to get resources. Once you roll the dice, you're going to set your resource bar to whatever numbers are rolled on the dice. At the beginning of the game, you start off with 4-sided dice, so you can only roll 4. Well, later in the game, you're going to want to upgrade these to 6-sided, 8-sided, or 12-sided dice. As you get higher in the numbers, they're limited, so it's a race to get the higher level dice before other players do. So, and each resource has a different thing that it's useful for. White is for upgrading dice, blue is for buying blueprints, green is for placing on the board, and black is for doing upgrades. And you'll use those resources in order to buy infrastructure. They give you new powers, allow you to break the rules in certain ways. There are 6 different routes to victory, and each one has 3 different levels. The first level does things to get you more resources faster. The second level gives you something specific to a certain strategy, and the last level actually gets you victory points for doing a certain tactic. So the first one gives you rerolls. The second one incentivizes you to place on the board earlier. One of them gives you cheaper resource cards. One allows you to expand out farther. Another one lets you trade in resources so that you can get a lot of black and get other resources through black. And one track lets you get multiple dice in the same color. So different tracks give you different strategies, and depending on what strategy you like to pursue, you can play the game differently. You can use the resources to buy more resource cards, which you can save for a rainy day. You can use them to buy these plans, which will eventually be victory points later in the game. You can also use them to place these down on the board, and once they're placed on the board, you get victory points. In this game, at the beginning of the game, you can only build in the center area. As the game continues and you get upgrades, you will be able to build onto the other tiles. So there's a race aspect to trying to claim the land. If you build on a flower, you get extra bonus points, and if you're the majority in a certain area, you get bonus points there too. At the end of the game, you get victory points for everything that's placed down on the board, and for the highest level of the upgrade track gives different ways of victory. Like one gives you victory points for having a lot of upgrades, one gives you victory points for crushing a lot of trees, one gives you victory points for collecting a lot of resource cards. With the upgrades, there's a unique aspect of it that you can work together in what we call partnerships with other players. In partnerships, both players build the same thing at the same time, have to spend the resources, but they get a bonus resource card. So sometimes you have a plan going, this is what I'm going to do for my strategy, but someone else starts building something and you're like, well, I could do that now cheaper and get a resource card. So there's a little bit of play there where you can adjust your strategy based on what other people are doing. There are 2 main ways that the game can end. The first way is that players have a certain limited amount of tokens, and as they're placing them either on upgrades or on their buildings that they're building, they end up using them, and once they're out, then it triggers endgame. Another possible endgame trigger is as players buy more of these blueprints, eventually they're going to hit a blueprint card that says closeout. And that means that next time that all players get exactly one more turn before the end of the game.